Hello, I'm Nicholas Jackson,
And I'm Luke Roberts.
and you're joining us on our first podcast today. Yes,
Pilot podcast.
our first podcast. It's going to be a very good one because I'm actually ill, so my voice is sounding rather croaky. And if I disappear momentarily, that's because I'm ill.
You've just passed out on the floor.
Yeah, and we are on one microphone rather than two, so not an ideal setup. But
No,
what
I
can you
can't. I can't EQ out the cold, and I can't sort out any background echo. So, if you're wearing headphones, deal with it.
we're really sorry.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. No, we don't care really, to be honest. Right, so.
What are we covering in this podcast?
Well, we've got a fun-full podcast today, Luke.
I
That
got a
doesn't
clue.
sound made up at all. I thought we'd start off with talking about things that we've been playing.
Wow, you're asking the guy with a wife and children what games has he been playing?
I
recently?
am.
This is going to be kind of a pain because a lot of the games I've been playing recently are retro games. I've recently picked up a few pieces of hardware that have allowed me to play, dare I say it, ROMs on actual hardware. So that's pretty handy because I mean the companies aren't making any money from this stuff anymore, and
Yeah.
the ROMs are they're readily available. Plus, I have a little piece of kit that will allow me to make ROMs from the cartridges. But I've been looking into playing the old game Hang On the Sega Master System,
right.
which is a motorcycle kind of. If anyone's played Outrun, it's made by the same guy. It's kind of like a checkpoint racing game on motorcycles. Don't get it confused with Road Rash, where you punch people a lot. I've been looking into playing Holy Magic Century, which is an RPG on the N64. Everyone hated it, but because everyone says they hate it, I have to play it.
Oh, yeah.
And
You have to be that awkward buggo.
well, yeah, but is it really that bad? That's what
I
I
know.
always think.
Have you played it now, is it?
That's all right. It's all right. It's not great. And one that I've really got stuck into this weekend. I know I don't have a lot of time to play many games these days, but Final Fantasy XIV beta weekend. The final beta weekend was the weekend just gone. Oh my god, it was amazing.
Good.
Oh god, dude, it's brilliant. Because I mean, you've played World of Warcraft.
I have, yeah. I've
and-
played the original Guild Wars.
Yeah, and I've played. I've played pretty much every MMO on the market: Guild Wars 2,
Yeah.
Final Fantasy XI, World of Warcraft.
You've got enough disposable income to spend on the subscriptions.
Oh yes. No. My wife pretty much strangles me every time I mention a new MMO coming out. Secret World, Ragnarok Online. I haven't played Star Wars yet, so she's pretty happy with that one.
That's free to play now, anyway.
I can't handle that fwing sound.
Vroom,
Yeah,
vroom.
lightsaber sounds en masse just makes me want to kill people. I mean, seriously, it drives
That's
me.
good if you're playing Star Wars Online. You go against people.
And I just rage at people and I just run at them. Even the blaster pistol gets on my nerves. But for anyone that doesn't know, Final Fantasy XIV is Square Enix's second Final Fantasy MMO. Final Fantasy XI being the first. Final Fantasy XIV actually fell flat on its face. So this is Final Fantasy XIV 2.0. They shut the
Oh, yeah, I
servers
saw
down.
that, yeah.
Well, they shut the servers down for about, I think 6 months. I could be completely wrong here, but I was there when they shut the servers down because I raged because I just renewed character slots, but not my subscription. They said, yeah, you can pay for the character slots, but you're not going to be able to play with them because only if you've got an active subscription before this very point will you be able to continue for a further 2 weeks when we kind of shut it down for everyone else. Because I was a legacy member, I'd played before for... They thought that the game sucked so much they had to reward people that had played for a certain period of time, and
Yeah.
I was one of the people that got the rewards.
So they rewarded people who had put up this bad game by letting them play it longer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But when they've released the game as Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn, which is what I just finished playing the beta weekend of, they've given us loads of items. You've got a free mount, so the stuff that no one really cares about, really. Oh look, a free hat. As a legacy member, I get access to the game early. I don't have to pay for a Realm Reborn, which is obvious because I bought 1.0. A lot of people are like, do I have to buy Realm? No, you don't have to buy a Realm Reborn. And they give me a lifetime discount to my subscription.
That's not bad.
Because I'd played in the previous version. And I get, I think, character slots, which you normally have to pay for. And some other little bits and bobs. I get all of that bundled in.
It's not bad at all.
And it's available on PlayStation 3.
Ah, so you're happy then.
Yes, PlayStation 3 and PC. Because my wife's PC blew up, so she can play it on the PlayStation 3 or I can play it on the PlayStation 3, whichever.
And it's quite happy to have you both one PC, one PlayStation. It's
Yes.
quite happy with that.
That's how we actually played over the beta weekend. I played on the PlayStation 3 on the beta. She played on my PC. She got the graphics looked amazing on the PC. Didn't look too bad on the PlayStation 3.
No.
The occasional draw distance issue, but it was it played so well, and it's been designed to work on a control pad. An MMO that works on a control pad is insane.
It is. It's always at the inverse. Most things these days seem to be designed to work on a control pad and a keyboard and mouse. The ultimate controls keyboard and mouse. Secondly, and for change, they've got it right the first time and done it the other way round. MMO's always been that exception to the rule. There's so many commands and controls, and you have your little micros. I mean, that's why I remember about World of Warcraft. I remember having a little bar on the bottom of the screen, and then I found that I could have multiples of them.
Yep.
It's like, how am I supposed to remember all this?
And then you'd have to, if you played competitively in PvP, you'd have to keybind all of your skills.
Yeah.
So, like, I have a Razer Nug, which has 12 buttons by my thumb. I keybind Q, E, Z, X, and C as different skills. F would be a skill. Then I'd have Shift, Control, and Alt skills, so that all my buttons would do something else as well. But on Final Fantasy XIV and Realm Reborn, literally they turn all of the face buttons on the control pad into different commands, and then the shoulder buttons go through different tabs. So the 8 buttons become different sets.
Quick source selection, as it were.
So you can kind of quickly switch what skills you want to use and when, and it just works really well.
So it just seems like that seems to me like the smart way to do it. Why has no one else thought of doing it before? It seems so obvious. Why has no one thought of doing it that way before?
Well, that's the same as saying, why haven't a lot of MMO, why haven't the developers said, there are Mac users out there as well, let's make for Mac users? But they don't. So far I can only think of World of Warcraft, and Guild Wars 2 is now rolling out a beta for their Mac client. But it's an untapped audience. If you can give a Mac player an MMO, they're going to jump on it. Same with a console user. They've always said, oh, MMO on a console? That's never going to work. I think A Realm Reborn is really going to do it. They've really put some thought into the controls, and it's cross-platform. That's something that Final Fantasy has always done well. 11 was cross-platform with the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox 360.
What's the costing like on the console? I mean, is it similar to a console game when you buy them? Because they're always traditionally a lot more expensive. So,
strangely enough,
what I'm wondering is, if I was a console player, would I be happy spending £45 on the console version, then having to pay a subscription afterwards?
It's actually pretty good like that. The PC version comes in just a little bit cheaper, only like £5 cheaper than the console version. It plays seamlessly with PC players. A lot of the times you will never know if you're playing with another PC user or another console user.
And it doesn't tell you that in game. You don't know.
Nope, it doesn't tell you if they're on a console or PC.
Yeah.
It's seamless. It is absolutely seamless. Every second I play with my wife or a couple of our friends, I saw another guy that we used to go to college with, Tim.
Yes.
He just ran past me in the game. I didn't even realize he was playing. It works pretty well on low-end machines because his PC isn't exactly called great. I was playing it on PlayStation 3. My wife was playing it on PC. You wouldn't know what platform these people were using it on. It works very well. I mean, I already have the game installed, even though I don't have the disc for the PlayStation 3. They've literally just said, here you go, here's the client, install it, we'll pair it to your account. If you want to play on the PC, here's the PC client, go. So, you're not limited to what platform you're on. If you want to play on a mate's PC,
it seems like the smart way to do it.
It works. I really hope it succeeds this time. It's definitely going to be worth the subscription.
So, it's a recommendation.
Yes. Easily.
Buy it. Buy it now.
And if you don't, I will probably cry. Actually, just throwing this out there as well, if anyone would like to play with us, we are on the North American Legacy server Balmung. But at the moment we're in the city of Oldar, but we have our licenses to travel all around the map. So if you start in any random city or whatever, we can come and play with anyone that is on the map. Actually, one last thing I have to throw in here as well about the job system in this game, okay? And we're probably going to come back to MMOs later on in the podcast. The cool thing about Final Fantasy XIV as well is, in most MMOs, you make a character, you pick a class, that's how you stay unless you make a completely new character. That's not how it works in Final Fantasy. In 11, they had a nice system where you could literally go back to your character's kind of safe house and change your job class. If you then got bored of that class, you could swap back to your original class and you'd get your level back. You would have individual levels per job. One person could do multiple jobs.
It's a bit like the old multi-classing from D&D, really, in a way.
Yeah, and I mean, you can combine classes and all that kind of stuff. But in 14, rather than having to go all the way back to a major city and going to your safe house, all you literally have to do is swap out your weapon. Then all you have to do is just make sure the other gear that you have equipped matches the class.
Do you not think, though, by having it set up so you just swap out whatever, do you not think that, in a way, defeats the purpose of having them? Wouldn't it make more sense just to have access to all the options anyway? Do you not think that sort of ruins the purpose of having classes if you can just swap them out wherever you feel like?
But you're still going to have to level up those classes anyway. It's not like, you can't just say hit level cap as a warrior and then swap out to a white mage and be max level white mage. Your stats will drop. Your gear you won't be able to put on like the highest level gear because it's an individual level.
I always love that in MMOs where you can't put on a piece of armor because it's too high level for you. I mean, just imagine that character going up to me, I've got this lovely suit, but for some reason it doesn't fit me until I gain a bit more kill for 10 more balls. I always laugh is like in Borderlands, they have level requirements for your weapons. You think to yourself, well, a gun's a gun, you point and click.
Yep, pretty much.
They're very simple interface, a gun, but for some reason I can't use this until I know it's in the gameplay or the mechanical reason why, but it's just that's always a bit of a disconnect I don't like in my games, and that's probably why I never go on, because I don't like playing with other people. I prefer to play it myself.
You're a solo runner.
That came out wrong. That came out wrong as well. That's part of the reason why they seem very restrictive. That's what I've always felt with MMOs.
Well, if they didn't have a gear treadmill and level grinding, what would you really have?
True. I can see why they do it. It just sort of breaks the immersion for me.
It happened to me on the beta weekend, if I had to be honest. I had a set of level 15 gear. I was level 13. I was in a higher level area than I should have been. I was collecting equipment far higher than what I could use at the time. And in the end, I actually had to do a little bit of light. The first time I'd ever had to grind in this game, by the way, I had to do a little bit of light grinding to get my levels up so that I could equip the stuff to take on a boss. Which was a bit annoying. That's what I get for being too hardcore to get to that boss right before I was even the right level.
That's what you get for being awkward, going to a high level area than you're meant to.
Yeah.
Right. Excellent.
So what have you been playing then?
I've been playing Dishonored, the Brigmore Witches.
Oh dear.
Now, what do you know, dear?
Dishonored.
Do you not like Dishonored?
I played it briefly. I have to say I got kind of bored of being stealthy, so I just kept on running in there and hacking people up. And even then, I found that I kind of sucked at the sword play. So
this actually brings me on to my first criticism of the Dishonored game.
Okay.
In the original Dishonored, for those who don't know, you play. I'm sure you do, but in case you don't, you play as Corvo, and he's the Lord Protector for the Empress. At the very beginning of the game, the Empress gets murdered by this character called Dowd.
He's doing a very bad job so far.
Yeah, he's doing a very bad job. Yeah, he's Lord Protector, and he manages to get his one most important client killed.
I was going to say, didn't he only end up in town for like 15 minutes before she gets brutally murdered?
He literally walks and says, hello, and she's dead. So, yeah, she's been fine. He's been away for months. She's been fine. He gets back and she dies. So, maybe a bad omen. I don't know if he gets any further. I don't know after the events of the game he gets any further contract work. I mean, I probably wouldn't be keen to hello him because he turns up at your door and you're dead.
What a great bodyguard!
Yeah, he's a fantastic bodyguard. I think the assassins follow him around and go, well, that must be someone very important. Let's kill them. Anyway, so Empress gets killed by this guy called Dowd, and Corvo gets blamed for it. And he gets put in prison. He eventually breaks out of prison. He gets given magical powers by the some sort of emo fairy thingy bob for the outsider. That. He gets given these magical powers and he gets to run very quickly and stop time and summon rats up.
So he can finally do the job that he was supposed to do.
Exactly, yeah. And then he goes on this revenge quest. Now, this song has a system called Chaos. And basically the idea is, as you kill people, it creates more high chaos. This has the effect in the game that later on in the game, more of the Reapers will turn up. That is with a W, but you can't hear it with my voice. Mm-hmm. And you get more problems, more guards will turn up. As basically as a result of you causing more chaos.
It also affects your allies as well. So some people that would normally
like you, it's like at the very end, the one guy who's basically been very friendly throughout just basically berates you. And somehow chaos also affects the weather.
Spoiler warning, guys.
Oh yeah, yeah. The game's been
out a bit late for that.
Yeah, sorry. The game's been out best part of a year now, so really, come on. You should know it's out. It's surely it's out of the
I mean, you could pretty much figure out from the moment that you walked. Can I just ask? Are these one of the guys at the pub?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, you could pretty much tell that one of those guys. You couldn't quite put your finger on which
it's
one.
It's actually your boat. So again, spoilers. Seriously, it's a bit late even more, but I've given.
Oh wow! I didn't think it was going to be him, but damn, now.
Yeah.
Wow, he sucks.
Sorry,
I'm gonna knife him now.
Yeah, you can't actually.
Oh,
that was the last level.
That's
but this is the 5 chaoses. At the very end of the game, somehow your action changes the weather. If you've been nice for the whole game, it's nice and bright and sunny when you get to the final mission. If it's not, it's rainy and thunderstormy. How Corvo will change the weather, I don't know, but that's what happens.
Does that actually affect the way that you go through the mission at all? Or?
Yeah, because the mission changes. There's 2 ways the mission ends. If you go low chaos, the sort of all the characters serious spoilers now. All the characters who betray you in the game, if you go low chaos, one of them will have killed the others for you. He'll have got guilt and he'll have killed them. If you go high chaos, he won't have got that guilt, and you'll have to face all of them.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting. But to me, Corvo, he's the Lord Protector. Although he must do some slightly shady things, he overall must be a reasonably nice guy to be hired by the ring. So to me, it made sense to play low chaos. Because I try and sort of get into the character, and from my point of view, I'm playing low chaos because, the civilians haven't done me any. What have they done to hurt me? The guards being hard. You're cringy now. I can see you just like stab everybody.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I stab the guard. I pick up his body and throw him at his mate.
It just seems to me that's how the character seems to me. And that's character interpretation. Now, in the Brigmore Witches, which is actually a second part of 2 DLC. The first one called Blade of Dunwall.
I'd heard of that one. I haven't.
You play as Dowd in Blade of Dunwall, the actual assassin who killed the Empress. Basically, it's a redemption story. The game starts with you killing the Empress. Now, to me, Dowd. One little point I'm just going to quickly point out, and this has been criticised heavily of Dishonored. You are given so many ways to kill people creatively. You've got these mines that throw out little bits of fine metal that chop people up. You've got these big gates that electrocute people. But you can't use them if you want to play low chaos. You're limited to, if you're low chaos, you need to do tranquilizer darts, sleeper holding people, or just bypassing like security devices.
Yeah.
That is basically your repertoire of non-lethal weapons. So it's very boring in my opinion.
That was my main problem with it.
Whereas if you want to have the most fun, you have to go full out, get all these fun tools to kill people. With Dowd, to me, Dowd is a killer. So when I play as him, I'm going to be that bit. I'm going to stab the old guard because I don't care. I'm an assassin. I'm not. Whereas Corvo was a spy master turned assassin, I am an assassin through and through. I'm going to kill the people, but still got the chaos system in it. And that affects the end of the game. And that just seems wrong to me to have that in it still. And you're playing this character. So I just find it very disbreaking.
Does the DLC, the second DLC where you play as Dowd, does that go up to the point where you face off against Corvo at the end? Is that the whole point of it?
It does. It starts, the same DLC starts with Corvo when he meets you in the first game.
Right. And
it imports your save from the previous DLC. You can choose to start again, but we'll import it all, including all your money, all your upgrades and everything. Now, this is the another thing. I played the first mission of there's 3 missions in the first DLC. First mission, I played how Dowd should play in my mind. He's a bit of a nasty piece of work. He's going to get his target. He's going to kill people to get there. He'll probably ignore civilians, but the guard, dead. Yeah. At the end of the game, Chaos Racing High. I thought, that's got chaos in it. I suspected, but I thought, nah, they'll have took out for this. It'd be silly to have it. So I tried to be good in the next 2 levels. Final level comes along, I think to myself, excellent. I can just go all out now. So I basically just go mental, kill everybody. But of course, I've now entered the game. Although, when I finished the DLC, I got the low chaos ending. When I imported the save, it's a high chaos ending.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's slightly confusing. So I've now started it, and this is the other crazy thing. They give you more fun tools. So you get things like there's these miniature arc mines, of course. If you go in, they just electrocute you and kill you. For non-lethal characters, you get a stun mine, fair enough, and what they call choke dust, which is basically pepper you throw in someone's face. And temporarily disables them. Now, I'm sorry, but pepper to me doesn't seem much of a deterrent.
If anything, that's going to make someone angry and
punch you in the face.
It is.
I'm Master Assassin. Pepper to the face. Yeah, it's. I like Dishonored. I like the gameplay. Probably because I love Thief, and it is. If you've played Thief, Dishonored is very heavily influenced by it. I love the gameplay, but it's just that disconnect of this character and haven't been tied to this system. So I'm having to play the game because I don't want to get the bad ending. I'm having to play this game as a low chaos character, which seems out of character for Dowd. And I think they've missed a trick there. I think they should have removed chaos straight away. I've only done the first level. I've got to say a funny phrase in the funny thing that happened to me in the first level. The guards have their little funny sayings, and they say all things, the usual thing. They're all very repetitive. At the very start, and this is a minor spoiler for the first part of the DLC. It's very much literally within the first 2 or 3 minutes.
In fairness, we have completely spoiled the last game.
Yeah, but you might have not played the DLC yet because it only came out the other week.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it's very minor spoiler, but you'll literally count those 2 or 3 minutes of the game of the first mission. You climb over into this prison you're breaking into, and you see a load of guards who are they're about to be shot. And the reason they're being shot is because this is the prison that Corvo escaped from, and they're being shot for basically helping him, or they suspect of helping him. So, if you let it play out, the guards there execute these guards, which is the first thing I did. This guy kills like 6 of these guys, 5 of these guys. I'm sneaking around, and as this guy's walking out, he goes, "Shouldn't there be some guards patrolling here?" And I thought, well, yeah, you just shot them all. And it's just that little silly little touches like that. And they say it all the time about the whole prison. Show someone, you go to an area and they're already on their patrol routes, and they go and saying, "Sure, there should be someone patrolling here." You think, well, you've set the patrols here already. Why are you saying that?
So is the question? So is the third DLC a third character, or
no? This is the second DLC.
The second DLC. So there's
actually 4 DLCs.
Okay.
One's a equipment pack, which I don't really count. One's you basically do challenge maps, which again I don't really count. So these are proper story DLCs. It's story. No, you're still playing as Dowd, but from the second you're carrying on basically. The first DLC, the Blade of Dunwall DLC, is like half a Dowd story, and this is like the second half of Dowd's story.
Okay.
So it's that little. I found that rather amusing. Just these guards saying, "Oh yeah, he's dead." Well, yeah, you shot him. It's crazy, but I did the first mission. I finished it before I came over here, and it's your usual Dishonored. I quite enjoy it.
Would you say it was worth a purchase?
I would say it's worth a purchase. Possibly now, if you've not purchased any other DLC, I would hang far because I would imagine there'll be a Game of the Year edition by the end of the year.
Yeah, I was going to say, so would you recommend I look at a PC or console? Are you playing on PC?
I'm PC.
Okay.
I'll always recommend. I don't play consoles, so I'll always recommend PC.
Fair do.
My sister played on console, and she seemed to enjoy it, so it seemed to work quite well.
So it plays well on both.
It plays well on both, yeah.
I was going to say I'd played it on Xbox 360, so and it seemed okay. I mean, I think maybe it might have been a little bit easier to control on the PC.
Did you find? I was going to say actually, you have the blink power. Did you get the blink power? Did you get that far? The one that lets you sort of like jump from place to place.
Yes, I got that one. Yeah.
I would imagine that would be quite trickier to aim on a console or on a PC with a mouse.
I have to admit, I found the controls a little awkward on the console, but then not having actually played it on the PC, I haven't really got any base to compare it to. But I would like to play the PC version at some point, because I still haven't finished the console version yet. So it would be nice to actually see which has the better controls, and then because I'm pretty sure, as most Steam games are these days, they're compatible with an Xbox control pad. So if I really wanted to use a control pad, I could just do that, and no one would know the difference, other than the game looks better.
Yeah.
But is there has Dishonored been on a sale yet, or?
It has been on a sale. It was on Steam 3 weeks ago. I don't think it's on sale at the moment, but it was on sale. But I say the DLCs, the 2 Blade Dunwall, Knife and Brigmore Witches, they're £8 each. The other 2 are £4 each. Unless you've already got all the others, I'd wait till the end of the year, because we're now August now. There's going to be a Game of the Year edition by this Christmas time.
Pretty much like what they did with Skyrim and
Morrowind and Fire, and by the Game of the Year edition.
That sounds fair.
Yeah.
So what else have you been playing?
A bit of retro gaming, actually. I've been playing Uplink.
Wow. Oh wow, Uplink!
Yes,
I actually had that on the Mac.
I got given a code for it for all Introvision games, or a lot of the Introvision games. So I got Defcon, which I already had, Darwinia, and Uplink. And I played demo Uplink a few years ago, and I thought I'd give the proper game a go. And it's amazing. It's to me, it's a perfect example of a game that is so basic, but generates so much tension. I don't think I've felt so much tension by having this little thing in the corner going beep, 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 beep. And you're panicking, you're typing away, trying to get something done. And what I love about it as well is you don't see it very much in new games. In a new game, if you were hacking and you had to change someone's records, it'd be a little drop-down box, or you just click it and it does it for you. No, Uplink, you have to type it in. You have to search for somebody's name. You can't just, you have to actually physically type the name in. So you've got your email up, you're trying to make sure you don't type it wrong. Because if you type it wrong, you've got to think, oh crap, I've got to disconnect now, start again. The amount of tension it builds is amazing.
It was very immersive, but that's all they had back then, if you think about it, really, because now it's all about graphics and...
Exactly. They were forced to be immersive, because they made you what they had, and it's amazing, and I think you can learn a lot from that sort of immersive, and I think, this is going to sound controversial, I think too many games are too simple now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll give you an example. One of my most favourite games I've ever played, Mech Warrior.
Yeah, I remember playing Mech Warrior.
Yeah. And what I loved about it was it is basically a simulator of something that doesn't exist. So you had to manage coolant, you had to manage heat, you had to manage your speed, and you had to manage your weapon grouping. If I do weapons together, you'd overheat. You could override your shutdowns. So many commands you couldn't just. It wasn't just a case of look up, look down, look left, look right. You could twist your whole top part of your body. You could use a hat controller. If you had a joystick of a hat controller, you could look out the left-hand window of your cockpit. It was so complicated. It was complicated, but it was so immersive because it was complicated. I felt like I wasn't playing some arcade shooter. I was piloting a machine. Because half these games where you have these mech suits, you feel like you're just wearing a big suit.
Yeah, it really does feel like a standard first-person shooter.
It does, yeah.
And
with a little cockpit drawn around you.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you felt like you were actually at the controls of this machine, and you were having to plan ahead. So I think that's what some of these games are missing. They have missed that sort of complexity, which I think adds to an immersive, makes the game feel more real. I mean, look at the original. I was quite pleased actually with Deus Ex Human Revolution when they brought that. The original one, if you wanted to log into an email, you had to type the email in manually. They brought it back for Human Revolution. Fantastic. That little touch just made it feel more real. I wonder what your thoughts on this matter are.
I do understand what you mean, that a lot of games these days are practically holding your hand. I mean, nearly every game that you get now has a mind-numbing tutorial, majority of which you cannot skip. Because back in the day, you think about it, you would play the first stage of a game, it would teach you by playing it. You would learn by playing the game. Now, they feel that you're such an idiot, you can't actually figure things out for yourself. They have to literally spell it out on the screen for you. Oh, look, here's something that's flashing. Your brain would instantly say, hang on a minute, from everything else that I've done in gaming, from, wee nippets or whatever, that's either a weak point, that's something I can hit or whatever. Now, it's like, hey, look, there it is. Here's a big map, go there, hit that. It's like, I know this, you don't have to tell me. And if not, I'm pretty sure I could figure it out. Yeah. You've just gone and pulled me right out of the game by forcing me to do this stupid tutorial.
Yeah, and I think the biggest sin in game development now is unskippable tutorials.
Yes.
A tutorial which you can't disable, which is press the W key to move forwards. No shit, Sherlock.
I would like if games these days... So, developers, listen to me, okay? This isn't very hard. I would like you to give me an option when I start the game. Is this the first time you have played the game? If I have, don't force me to go through the tutorial, or if you have to make me go through that first part, don't make me read so much text. Okay, I assume I already know everything that I need to know. Let me go on. If it then comes to massive cutscenes at the start of the game, if I've already seen them, if I say I've already played the game, please give me the option to skip them. You would not believe how many games I play these days that maybe I've already beaten, the game once, maybe beaten the game twice. I have to go and sit through hours of cutscenes again.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the name of the game I played recently. What was it called? It's tongue will come to me. And you could start the game again. After you finish, you can start the game again with your higher level character. You do that, you have to do the tutorial again.
See, I don't see the point in that. Why give you a plus mode?
Exactly, they know you've played it before. Why the tutorial? They know you have. It's crazy. We should be in charge, Luke.
Just in case you forget hints that you've played the game before.
Yep.
I suppose.
When I finally get around to releasing my game, that's one of the things I'm not going to have. Well, I'm going to have them if you want them.
Just seriously, don't make me do a tutorial. I mean, I understand why they do it. Some people are just thick and shouldn't be allowed to do what it is that they do. But honestly,
this is one of the things that actually, in fact, some of the old games did do well. Original Half-Life had a little link on the menu that says tutorial. If you've not played it before, you click on it, and it takes you to a special little tutorial area, which just teaches you the game. If you've never played it before, that's great. And if you don't, you click single player, and off you go, and you play the game.
Yep. Give us a separate tutorial, completely away from the game.
Yeah.
We don't... If you give us the option for it, I'm pretty sure we can figure out if we need it, that we'll use it.
Yeah. Exactly right.
I just want to rage now. I really want to rage. What else have you played? Quick, move
well,
on.
That's me done for game, so perhaps we should move on to other things we've been doing.
Other things we've been doing. I'm going to let you lead on this one.
Okay, well, recently, or literally, as I say recently, which is in the last 2 days, I downloaded the free version of Unity.
Oh, I love Unity.
I've previously worked with XNA, and I've worked in C#, so I was quite switched on by the fact that you could use C# with Unity, and you can link up to Visual Studio as well, so you can actually straight away go straight into...
Now, just for people who don't know what this is, just kind of go back.
Okay.
So, what is Unity?
Rewind. Right. Unity is basically, it's a game engine, but it's designed in such a way that it's designed for people to create games. So it's done a lot of the work hardware for you. So you start up, it's already got loads of keyboard definitions defined, so you don't have to worry about trying to map the keys for you. You literally go into the code, the scripting code, and you say, I want to use the forward keys or the horizontal keys, and it knows what they are. You don't have to worry about putting all the calls in, which you used to do on XNA, put all the calls in to work out and all the logic to do it all. It's all done for you. It's so simple. You create like an object, say like you create a car. Rather than having to like hand code individual bits of that car, you literally create a little script for it. In my case, C#, but you can do it in Java as well. And there's one called Boo, which no one ever uses. I never even heard of it until I got Unity. And literally all you do is drag the script over and click on that object, and boom, it's got there. Which means that once you've got the script, if you then make a truck object, you just drag it and it's done. You don't have to recode it all. I mean, I was always I'm not very good at graphics, so I was a little bit trepidatious about doing it. I thought I'll give it a go. 3D game engine. And I've been pleasantly surprised at how easy it is. The free version of it, if you're interested in doing game design, get the free version. It's got a lot of stuff on it. It's not missing many features that the pro version hasn't got, but it's got a lot of stuff in it, enough to do most. I mean, I've looked at it, and it'll do everything I need it to do for what I want to build. Possibly learn. You need to learn a little bit about C# or Java. Java is possibly easier to learn.
I hated Java.
Yeah, well, I'm not a fan of Java, hence why I use C#. So there is some programming involved, but it's very step by step. My only criticism of Unity as a company is that online tutorials are rubbish.
I did look through some of their online tutorials. If I had to be honest, I don't remember a single thing they said.
They were very poor. Even the reference document has a section called creating a scene, and basically a scene is like a level or a menu, and what you do is you combine all scenes together to make a game. Which again was another thing that the XNA used to be a problem with. You'd have to create all the menus and levels separately. Usually does it all for you. And I remember thinking, well, how do I create a scene? How do I build a level? All I want to do is build a box. Just so I could put something in it and sort of move stuff around in it. And the tutorial of how to create a scene doesn't tell you. It doesn't. This reference guide doesn't tell you to do it. I had to go on YouTube, find someone else on YouTube, nothing to do with Unity, and I watched him. There's one about the GUI, and literally it's just this guy, and he says, here's the GUI, this screen is this, and he reads the text off the screen. Well, I could do that.
So he's practically just reading the tooltips.
Yeah, and he eventually does show you what these all mean, how these actually work, and there was I gained some knowledge out of it, but to be fair, nothing I probably couldn't have gained just by playing around for 5 minutes.
Right. So you'd say that to learn Unity at the moment, short of just playing with it, your best place to kind of pick up a few tutorials would be YouTube.
YouTube and Google. I've Googled everything. There is quite a good forum on Unity. There are quite a few members who are quite knowledgeable about it, more so than it seems to be developers. The actual Unity reference documentation now, 9 times out of 10 I've looked at it and I've had to go to Google, find some another website how I do it. So that's my only criticism of the game. The level the level reference is very poor.
Okay.
What about yourself, Luke? What have you been up to?
Right, well, where you've been dabbling with game engines and such, which we actually spoke about a few weeks ago, didn't we?
We did.
That's kind of what brought us onto Unity. I do a wee bit of video editing. I have to admit, I'm not exactly great at video editing, but I do own a lot of video editing software. So I own all of the major packages. Well, I say all of the major packages. I own Sony Vegas, Adobe Premiere, and Final Cut. And just recently I thought to myself, because I know people that edit in all different suites, and we edit on all different platforms, it would probably be for the best if I learn at least the basics of what I need to do, or what I can do at the moment, in all of the suites. So for text effects, zooming, panning, all this stuff, I should learn it in Final Cut, I should learn how it works in Vegas, and I should learn how it works in Premiere, so that if someone says to me, I mean, I can do most of it anyway, it's just a case of I want to be able to do it as quickly as I can in, say, my main editor, and be able to tell someone else how to do it. I've literally just sat down, set up a scene, or a couple of scenes, and I've said, right, here's how I do it in my main editor. What do I need to do in Premiere? What do I need to do in Final Cut? How can I show someone else how to do this? And is it really very difficult? Is there a simpler way to do it? All I've literally been doing recently is playing with editing video, just kind of effects, composition and stuff like that. Nothing fancy.
Out of all the software you've got, what would you say is the most intuitive to use? I mean, if you had 3 bits of software you could sit me down in front of, which one could you sit me down in front of and leave me for 10 minutes and I'd probably have to figure something out, or could I not do it on any of them?
Right, well, depending on what platform you're on, because this was the main point. So if you're on a Mac, you only really have 2 options. You've got Final Cut Pro and you've got Adobe Premiere. If you're on Windows, you've got Sony Vegas and Adobe Premiere. So Adobe Premiere seems to be like the stronger one. If you were just going to start out and you had a Mac, I'd say Final Cut Pro 10, which is kind of it's Final Cut Pro crossed with iMovie. Right. If you've ever used iMovie, that's the editing package that comes with new Macs. Then you've got on Windows, the easiest one, in my opinion. The most intuitive one on Windows is Sony Vegas. I know that a lot of people use Sony Vegas when they start off and then move up to Premiere Pro. I'm not saying that Sony Vegas is nerfed in any way, shape or form, like it's any worse than Adobe Premiere, but I don't think you're going to get into a production studio saying, yeah, I'm pretty damn good with Sony Vegas. A lot of the professionals don't really see it as a professional package, even though you can get the same stuff out of it.
Is there actually a reason behind that, or is it just a little bit of, dare I say, a little bit of snobbery behind it?
I'd say it's probably snobbery. I mean, it's just not been adopted by, say, TV stations yet. Way back when, a lot of people would say, yeah, well, if you want to edit with us, you have to use Final Cut Pro 7 or Adobe Premiere. Now, there are so many different editing suites out there. I think, at the end of the day, as long as you can render out at a certain format, at a certain bit rate, it shouldn't matter. It's the same with camera snobbery. They say, well, you can't put this stuff on the telly if you can't render out in a certain bit rate and a certain resolution. Yeah. And then the BBC goes and pulls something down from YouTube. So,
So, I mean, as you say, I'm a new to video editing. I want to start out. You're thinking, most people are going to have Windows PCs, I'd imagine. So, most people are going to be out there who are listening are probably Windows users, let's be honest.
Okay, then, well, I'd say
Sony Vegas then to start off with?
Sony Vegas, or if you wanted something easier than that, there is actually another piece of software that I do recommend to people that are starting to play with video. Cyberlink Power Director. It's about $60. It's about £60. It's it's cheap as chips for a full license. Yeah. It's pretty damn powerful. You're not going to be, playing around with fancy effects. You're not going to be keyframing all this stuff. If you just want to literally, here's your video, you want to dump it into the editor, you want to cut it, you want to add in some fancy transitions and sparkly bits.
A home user, basically. You want to do semi-professional stuff, but at home.
Yeah. I mean, you can still bang out a documentary. If you don't want to start, say, throwing in all these fancy effects, Cyberlink Power Director will do the job. If you're, let's say for example, you're a standard YouTuber and you want to do Let's Plays, those are video walkthroughs for anyone that isn't aware. You could get away with that with Windows Movie Maker. Cyberlink Power Director is going to do an even better job. And the features are pretty damn good. It had GPU rendering before Sony Vegas, from what I'm aware.
That's good.
At least for my graphics card, I run an AMD rig. I'm sure if you were using CUDA, then alright, you could use GPU rendering in Vegas.
And with these editing softwares, can you do things like import, say for example, I was going to make a little home science fiction program and I wanted a laser bolt firing. Could I do that, or would that not be within the realms of that technology?
Well, here's the trick. With Sony Vegas, you could do it, but you'd probably need Adobe After Effects. Or you could do it and like make a little laser beam in Photoshop, and then put the photograph in of the beam, and then keyframe it to kind of animate it across the screen. With Adobe Premiere, you've of course got After Effects. You can just go. It's directly linked. The Adobe Suite is directly linked.
In that case, you might as well have the Adobe Premiere, really.
Yep. Or if you're on the Mac, Final Cut Pro you will have to buy Motion separately, but that is the compositing software to go with it. A lot of people just say, I can remember talking to a guy many years ago. He said rather than faffing around with special effects in Adobe Premiere, in After Effects or Motion, just Photoshop it. If you don't want it to be all fancy and shiny and crazy animated, just literally dump it in. Because you'll have that B-movie kind of look to it. It will look kind of cool, but it'll also look kind of cheesy and cheap.
Everybody will pause momentarily while the gun fires because it's been a still image sort of thing.
Well, you would literally just create like a cylinder in Photoshop, and then you could literally just stick that on top of your movie, and then you have the guy with his gun and he's pulling the trigger, and then you just literally just keep on dumping these photographs on top, and then just move them across the screen with keyframes. So nothing would actually freeze. It would look like it's animated. It's just something that you cooked up in Photoshop. It's not going to have any kind of fancy lighting effects or anything coming off of it.
I suppose a lot of it though comes down to if you're good at Photoshop, no doubt you could probably create it to match the lighting. You could probably create something quite convincing if you were good at Photoshop.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I suppose the only real issue you would have is that it wouldn't affect the lighting of the shot, whereas if you did it in After Effects, you could actually make it so that the effect of the laser would affect maybe it would brighten the character's top as it was fired,
cool.
Or it would, as it travelled across the scene, it would light up things as it passed.
Cool.
So there are bonuses to using professional level compositing software over, say, Photoshop. But if you wanted to get it done, you can. You don't need to go out and get After Effects.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do this stuff in iMovie or Windows Movie Maker if you really wanted to, but you're probably going to overcomplicate things in doing it.
Next section, games we're looking forward to. Now, you said earlier you had something you could actually talk about for this.
Well, actually, I've already pretty much talked about it.
Is that your Final Fantasy?
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14. I'm actually looking forward. Do we have a hardware section? Hardware we're looking forward to?
Yes, why not? We can add one in. It's our first one. Let's say it's the hardware section.
Right, hardware we're looking forward to. I'm waiting for an Android games console that I funded on Kickstarter a while back called the Game Stick.
Oh, yes.
So for anyone that has followed the Ouya, what you can't tell is just behind the microphone there is an Ouya sat here. It was one of the biggest disappointments I've ever had. It's a good little console, but no one seems to be taking it seriously. Even the developers aren't really taking it seriously. They're just kind of going for a cash grab. The Game Stick is a portable HDMI stick, and then you have a Bluetooth control pad that you can literally just slot it in together. It's going to be a little bit slower than the Ouya, but it's going to be a lot more portable, and the Ouya is a pain in the ass because it has HDCP copy protection on it, so the video signal is encrypted. And so if you're trying to capture video for it to, say, maybe do a review,
Let's Play,
you can't. And a lot of developers have criticised the Ouya for that. I'm hoping the Game Stick doesn't have that. Plus, I just like the idea that I can have all my Android games in my pocket, because the control pad is literally small enough to dump in my pocket. Other hardware is obviously the Rift.
Oculus Rift. I'm so looking forward to that. I'm just waiting for the day when that becomes available.
That, and what was the other thing?
The Omni.
Yes,
if you've not seen this, you have to YouTube the Omni. It's better to describe it. Imagine a wok, okay, that you stand in, And there's like a little harness that you have sort of set up that you're sort of held in by this harness. You have these special shoes that sort of lock into the walk. And so as you walk, now this is where it gets clever. What it does is it translates those walking motions into keyboard commands. So walking forward becomes a W key. So you plug it in, and the computer doesn't care. It doesn't know the difference. It just thinks you're using WASD. And that's just brilliant. That's just simple design. So there's no messing around with fancy drivers. It thinks it's a keyboard. That combined with the Oculus Rift,
which is a
VR headset.
Yeah.
So basically, you can get into this thing, you can put your Oculus Rift on, so you're looking around the game world, and you can walk in the game world. I mean, to be honest, I think once that happens, I'll never leave my bedroom.
And the funny thing is, it's really cheap as well.
It is.
Was it? It's about $300 for the Omni, and maybe about the same for the Rift.
You can get a Rift now for $300, a developer's pack for $300.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's not a proper Rift. It's a very early prototype version you get, but you can buy it. They don't recommend it if you are a home user, but if you want to develop games for it, I mean, I'm considering it for the one I'm working on. I'm considering getting a copy. Just because I'm going to feel like waiting for it. But I mean, $300 for a VR headset is ridiculous money. It's like, it's like £180.
You've got to think that we're probably going to get stung with tax.
Yeah, that's true.
But we'll say £180, and that's cheaper than a PlayStation 3.
Exactly.
And
it's ridiculous. And
what's more fun, a PlayStation 3 or a VR headset that you can go faff around in your favourite
exactly.
games in?
I think the truth, what's going to be the key thing is there's going to be support for it. I mean, they've put a lot of support in older games. Half-Life 2's got support added to it. I mean, Half-Life 2, that's like 10 years old. And they've added support to it for Oculus Rift. It's crazy. Without Valve, I quite like that for that sort of thing. So as long as new games come out and have it added in, I think that's the future of gaming. I really do.
It did seem very clever, because, I mean, just imagine, for example, you mentioned Skyrim, that you could run around, you could run around the world, you could look around. I mean, just imagine just waking up in the morning and thinking to yourself, you know what, I could go for a run.
Yeah.
And
But instead of running down your street looking like an idiot,
you can look like an idiot in your
living
living room.
Yeah.
And
close the windows, but you're in privacy of your home. And just hope no one walks in. Because if a burglar walks in, he's going to have the biggest laugh in his life.
Yeah, he'll probably fall on the floor and die of a heart attack laughing, really. As some random geezer is strapped into his strapped into this device, waddling about.
Running away.
And I mean, they've shown demos of it with first-person shooters.
Team Fortress 2 they had, I think, Battlefield. Was it COD?
Was it Battlefield or it might have been COD?
It might have been COD. You have to see it to believe it. Honestly, YouTube it. It is worth watching. What would be really fun is if they get rid of the stamina bar, like Skyrim. So basically, when you run away, it's down to your own personal stamina.
That would be pretty clever. So if it would actually monitor how far, because I am actually curious as to how it's going to decide whether or not you're running. So like in Skyrim, like if you press Shift W, you're gonna. Is that?
I'm assuming I'm guessing here. Okay, I don't know how it works. Because it detects when the shoe hits the rock, and it knows when the next shoe hits the rock. So presumably it's a timing thing between the two. If they're hitting quicker, you must be running. I'm assuming that's how it works.
And so it will then send a command to say hold down Shift until the pace goes down below a certain rate.
Oh, one thing I should point out, it also needs Connect as well. You have to have a Connect system, because that's how it tells if you're crouching.
Oh dear, this is where we're going to start running into problems, because no one wants to Connect.
Don't think of it as Connect. Think of it as a piece of hardware that comes you need to buy with the Omni.
The only thing that worries me about having to use a Connect is for people with limited space, because the Connect isn't the most reliable device in the world anyway.
I think their goal is to try and keep it as cheap as possible, because ultimately, if this comes out with a really fancy IR system and it costs $2,000,
no one's going to buy it.
Exactly.
They want to keep it accessible.
Yes. And unfortunately, that means sacrifices are going to be made, and one of the sacrifices is Connect.
Connect is only about £100 though, right?
Yeah.
So that's not...
Yeah.
I mean, have they said if there's going to be any plans to allow you to use the newer Connect coming with the Xbox One? Or...
Not that I've seen, no. It's been developed using the current Connect, so I assume that it's working with that. Presumably, though, I mean, I'm assuming that the new Connect isn't that much different to the old one.
I couldn't say. I don't like the Connect, so...
Yeah, no. Well, I don't like the Xbox, so there you go.
Poor Xbox.
Let's call our next Xbox the One.
Yeah,
next one, the one after that's going to be the Xbox Zero.
It makes absolutely... I don't understand what they were thinking when they did that. But...
Well, I was listening to someone else's podcast the other day, PC Game podcast, and there was a rumour when they were at the trade show where it got announced, and the rumour going around the panel was it was going to be called the Xbox. Just the Xbox. They were going to get rid of the naming. And then a few people sort of thought, well, that's quite a clever idea. and they suddenly decided last minute to change to the Xbox One.
Right.
Because apparently there were some videos which just said Xbox on them. Apparently, how true that is, I don't know.
I have just a few problems here because I know we weren't supposed to be talking about the Xbox One. Okay, dropping the current naming scheme and just calling it the Xbox. We've already had one of those.
We have, yes.
It was the first Xbox.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people, when they talk about the original Xbox, they call it the Xbox One.
Yes.
So we're just confusing.
You've shot yourself in the foot, really, haven't you?
Yeah, rock on, Microsoft. You guys are geniuses. I mean, I don't see PlayStation calling the PS4 the PlayStation. Yeah, or the PlayStation Zero or something stupid like that. They said, look, this is the fourth one we've made.
So it's the PS4.
Let's just stick to it. We're not going to go American on it and like call it the PlayStation Vengeance or something.
Yeah. They stick with a naming system and stick with it. I mean, Microsoft could have just named it the Xbox 720.
Which everyone expected it to be called anyway.
Exactly.
But I would like to know
to be
what
honest,
was going on in
I
there.
was still surprised they even announced it. I honestly thought they weren't going to make another one.
Really?
Well, how much it costs to make the Xbox to actually sell it for? I think it's getting to the point now where that's why the consoles are so expensive, is to shore up the cost of the consoles.
In fairness, I mean, I can remember a lot of console gamers are going to hate me here because I am a console gamer as well as a PC gamer. You know, it's whichever I can get my hands on at the time, and because my children like consoles. But for all of these people going out there and saying that the new Xbox and the new PlayStation 4, Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 are going to be anywhere near as powerful as current gen PCs, you are completely out of your mind. Because I mean, they're like, oh yeah, it's going to have graphics capabilities up to, a current gen PC. No, it is not. The graphics performance roughly equates to an NVIDIA, what is it?
Well, I've lost track of it.
A GTX 580. I think it's like a GTX 580, or it's a 580 or a 570. It might only be a 560. It is not current gen. Just seriously, guys, if you want the console, fine, but don't come up to me and say that your console is as powerful as my PC. It will never be as powerful as my PC, especially not at the price that they're going to push it out to you, unless they want to go bankrupt with it.
To be fair, if you're sensible when it comes to PCs, if you're sensible and you don't go for the latest tech, you go for like a generation previous, you could spend the same amount of money you would on a console on a PC box and get very similar performance.
Yes.
Very similar performance. If you wait a year after the console's released, you'll get better performance.
Yep. Actually, in fairness, I would say that even if you did spend the same amount of money on a PC build as you would on the console, you are definitely going to get better gaming performance anyway.
Yeah.
Because the parts that are in those things aren't very expensive. It's an AMD APU, from what I understand.
Yeah.
It's nothing really fancy.
I suppose the only advantage it has got is they obviously, it's not like a PC which is slapped together components. It's been like a Mac. It's been designed, integrated onto the board, which instantly makes it more efficient, which will mean it's got more power in that regard. It's got more efficient, whereas a PC is a little bit more master of order. It has to be able to cope with so many variables, which makes it inherently slightly less efficient.
But even though we're running, say, a full-blown operating system in the background, guys, seriously, I'm sorry, we're still more powerful than you. Just get over it.
It is. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I built, for my current PC, my previous PC I built in 2006, and that was still playing Bioshock at higher resolution than the console could play.
Yep, I was going to say my PC is now, probably 2 going on 3 years old now, and I'm still playing games in Ultra, 1080p in Ultra, with no problem at all.
Exactly.
So, and there's no console that's going to do that. Majority of the consoles out there right now can only play 720p. For anyone that owns an Xbox 360 and thinks that their Xbox is actually playing a game at 1080p without upscaling it, don't even go there. In fact, most of the games they're not even rendered at 720p.
Yeah.
Like, Call of Duty, guys, I hate to say it, that's not even 720p. You're playing a standard def game that's been scaled. Just think about that for a while.
Well, I always suspect that, it's basically the Quake 3 engine.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, they've now redesigned it, but yeah, you guys were using an
Quake
engine that
3.2 engine. Yeah.
I loved Quake.
Oh, you
Quake
love
was
it.
way more fun than COD, and you guys just ruined it.
You see, I've played briefly the Modern Warfare series. I played the very first COD, which I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I went to Modern Warfare, I saw playing comments, I saw lost interest in it because everything went Modern Warfare. I know it's sort of an argument because everything was World War II for so long.
Yeah, they kind of beat World War II to death, and
Yeah.
we beat World War II to death during World War II.
We did, yeah.
So-
I don't know why no one's done a World War One game. Really.
Actually, yeah, you do have a fair point. I can't think of any.
The only one I know was based on World War One. This is very tenuously based. Was Hogs of War.
Oh, Hogs of War! How I miss you. Rick
Oh.
Mail is the
Oh yeah.
as the commentator.
Oh, how many hours I wore out a Hogs of War disc. That's how much I played that game. I wore out the disc, which is very hard to do when it's in a PlayStation. It's very hard to do
You
that.
probably actually killed the PlayStation before you killed the disc, but
No, the PlayStation survived.
scary.
I know, and it was a PS2 as well.
Just in case anyone is actually curious, Hogs of War is basically a 3D version of Worms where you play as pigs.
Yeah, it was turn-based. There was 5 pigs of each size. It was very much riffing on sort of all the war films. It was very un-PC and very much play on words. So and it's based on World War One. So you had like Tommy's Trotters and the sauerkrauts from the Germans. And they were all names like hair gel, haircut. It was very, and they're very sort of. I mean, I don't think they'd make a game like that now. I don't think they'd dare get away with it.
They wouldn't be able to
Because
do it.
it was in some. I mean, especially like the Chinese army in it. Woof, you wouldn't get away with that now. I don't think
Everything's far too PC
it is.
these days.
But it was a fantastic little game, and that was based on the sort of technology that was World War One. So yeah, that's the only game I know of that's based on World War One, really,
I
which
was
is
gonna say
a sad state of affairs, really.
that is pretty bad.
Yeah.
That Hogs of War is the only World War One game we can think of.
World War One, it had like horse-drawn artillery. It had it had massive rushes over the trenches. Imagine being told.
Did we not have a Total War game?
Not World
anything
War.
like that?
No, not Total War.
Interesting.
Not for World War One.
That's a shame.
They've
guys.
never. I think the latest, it's only Napoleon because it's all the newest sort of era they've done. And that's Total War Empire.
Get on it, guys. World War One. Let's
Yeah.
milk that one.
Yeah, I think the trouble is they're a little bit. I think because they are, maybe they're just being a bit cautious because it's still relatively recent in history, and you don't want people. I mean, other games have done it, but
In fairness, you do have Call of Duty games where Americans are running into
yeah,
Afghanistan.
that is
So-
true. To be fair, yeah, my point is completely invalid. I retract it immediately.
I hate Call of Duty games with a passion. I
Yeah.
really do. But I can't honestly think of any more games I've been really looking forward to recently.
Well, I'm going to talk about Sir, You Are Being Hunted.
Now,
Oh.
you did send me something about this earlier, so I got a chance to
Yeah,
have a
this
little look.
basically, Sir, You're Being Hunted. It's a survival horror game, but it's in a very sort of cartoony way. It's basically a procedure generated game set in the British countryside. Probably sort of looking at it, I think sort of up Scotland way, but I feel good with it. So you imagine the British countryside. If you're American, just imagine somewhere dark and dreary. Actually, I love the countryside. I can't really say that. I work in the countryside in my spare time, so imagine how really nice. That's the countryside in Britain.
Basically, not America.
Oh, that's a bit harsh.
Imagine something you'll never see.
There's must be a nice part of America.
Well, look at all that history you've got, America.
So, sort of traditional British villages and so forth, and you're cast this guy, and you've got to try and escape from this island, because it's not an island, by clearing these parts to make a teleporter. But the whole time you're there, you're being hunted by robots, and these are like stereotypical sort of country gent. Imagine Prince Charles, or you sort of sort of in his tweed.
Is he going to come at me with a top hat and a monocle?
They do have them. They have got
Oh,
robots
my.
like that. And they go out with shotguns and they sort of walk around, they say, nice day, isn't it? And all that. They sort of talk really sort of stereotypical British sort of phrases. But instead of them out hunting foxes or rabbits, you're being hunted.
Brilliant.
And you've got to escape, and you need to eat stuff to keep you alive. You need to sort of fight back, but every time you do, that creates more noise. So it's a stealth game. It's based very much on it's survival. So you're not going to go out just attacking everything you feel like, because you will just get beaten up and killed, basically. It's an indie game. It's been made by 3 people. I mean, you've seen the video. It's very impressive for something that's done by 3 people.
Yeah, and this was done in Unity.
Unity, actually, yes, it was done in Unity.
It was very nice if I had to be honest.
Yeah.
Now, what stage is this in? Because you're saying it's being developed by 3 guys.
In early alpha stage. You can get early access stage on alpha. They are taking pre-orders on their website as well if you don't want to use Steam. But you can get on Steam as well. They are planning a release date of, I believe, November.
November?
I believe it's November. It's definitely this year.
That's not too far away.
It's not too far away. It's $14.99 early access on Steam as of today. So I'm definitely going to get it.
I might have to pick it up after watching the little video clip.
Yeah.
It's very much was it Thief-like?
Yes,
so we mentioned that Dishonored was kind of...
It's got a very Thief system, so you've got like a little... If Thief had like a little light gem which showed you how visible you were, you've got the same sort of thing going on here. It shows you how visible you are, but you can like hide in undergrowth to sort of keep out hidden. You need to raid all the villages to steal stuff. There's like a robot who walks around the villages, but he won't attack you unless he catches you stealing stuff. And they've got these big balloons. They've got people on like higher balloons who also like try and search for you. They've got attack dogs. It's really good. It looks like it's going to be fabulous. There's one shot they've shown in their sort of preview sort of concept art, which I hope they get into the game, and it's this robot horse. As this guy's all dressed up in all like fox hunting gear, but he's got a horse it's robotic. Instead of legs, it's got jets. It's like a VTOL. It's a VTOL horse, so it just sort of hovers about, flies about. I so hope they put that in there.
It sounds very cool, and it's reasonably priced. Right.
$14.
Can I just throw this out there as well? Because I mean, it's an indie game. Would you say that indie games are more fun these days than the AAA titles?
I think
for the most part.
I think Sturgeon Law applies to indie games. Heard of Sturgeon's Law?
For people who don't...
sorry. Sturgeon Law, 90% of the stuff out there is rubbish. Is basically the nice way of putting it. Or maybe 95%. Internet says this. If you say you want to look at fan fiction, you'll find... say you want to look up, I don't know, perhaps you're a fan of Star Trek, so you look at Star Trek fan fiction. You'll probably find 5% of it is actually any good worth reading. The other 95% you can delete and get rid of. The same is true of, I think, most made TV programs, films. I think the indie games we hear about, the ones we think of, the AAA, which are the good ones, are, in my honest opinion, I think they're the exceptions. I think there's a lot of rubbish games out there, obviously indie developers. But then you get the Minecrafts come out.
Yeah.
Then you get Zoe Being Hunters come out. Then you get
Cube
World of Goo.
Yep.
You get these come out every so often, but they're the exceptions. But I like that. That's how it should be. It should be getting 10,000 great games every month. It should be the food gems, the ones that you'll remember and love.
Kind of like what it was years and years and years ago. You would get a wave of absolute crap. But back then you would actually have to dig through the crap to find the gold. And when you found it, you clung on to that for a long time. And can I just quickly say, for any indie developer, if you don't want your game to seem like instant fail, and it will if you do this, if you develop for the Ouya, your game it's doomed. It instantly sucks. It's not really worth playing. I'm just saying, okay, don't. If you don't want to fail, just don't develop on Ouya.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's an exception to the rule.
Rewind.
Oh my! I've just kicked myself in the nuts there, and it's a game that I wouldn't have ever thought I would have liked. So, have you ever played Geometry Wars?
I've heard of it, but I've not played it.
Right, Geometry Wars. Oh my God, this is going to be difficult to explain. You basically play it as a small kind of little ship in a rectangular kind of level. And enemies come out from all the sides, and you use one, because it was an Xbox game, you would use one stick to move. It would have very Smash TV controls if anyone's played Smash TV, where you would have, say, one stick or one set of buttons to move, and then the other buttons or other stick would choose which direction you would shoot. So if you pressed up, you'd shoot up, down, you'd shoot down, and that kind of thing. Basically, the idea was to see how long you could survive.
Sounds a bit like Asteroids in a weird way.
Pretty much. Over time, the waves would just become more and more intense. Kind of very classic gaming. Like a very classic arcade game, like a quarter muncher, if you're in America. The game on the Ouya that I think is kind of the random exception to the rule, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is very much like Geometry Wars, but it's called Dub Wars.
Dub Wars.
Dub Wars. It's a dubstep arcade
Oh, my
shooter.
word.
I know, and this should shock pretty much anyone that knows me personally because I absolutely hate the genre of music. Dubstep. I call it wub wub music. It's modem music. If I wanted to listen to a modem grind, it's horrible stuff. But Dub Wars is an interesting game in that in something like Geometry Wars, you literally have to aim and shoot. You just literally press the direction and you shoot forever. You'll get power-ups and you'll just continuously shoot and get more powerful and more powerful until you get hit. In Dub Wars, your weapons only fire to the beat of the music. So based on how fast the tempo is, if there's like a kind of a drop in it, you'll have different weapons fire at different times, they'll fire at different speeds, and if the beat stops at any point in the track, you don't shoot. You have to completely change up your gameplay style.
Right.
So you then have to go on the defensive to try and avoid the waves of enemies, or you have to hope that you've wiped out majority of the stuff anyway.
Oh, I see.
Until the beat starts back up, and then you have to kind of fire
That's
on
pretty
it.
clever.
I have a little tip for people who might be interested by Dub Wars.
If you're one of the few people who accidentally bought a New Year.
Yeah, me too. I actually backed it in Kickstarter, and what a disappointment. But it's a nice emulation box if you like to emulate games. I'm not saying you should, but right, with Dub Wars, there's a trick. If you haven't played it yet, if you go into the game, it's in beta right now.
Yeah.
You can download a demo off the Ouya store. It's an Ouya exclusive. You go to the store, you download the game, and it says, okay, you've got access to one level, one song. Which is a pretty damn good song and a pretty damn good level, to be fair. If you want to get the rest of it and access to the kind of the development levels and all the stuff as it gets pushed out, you have to pay $15. $15 is pretty damn expensive.
Which is about £12.
For an Ouya game, that's pretty damned expensive. What would you say if I could get you $5 off?
I would say I want that game.
Right, so here's the trick. They ask you, okay, cool, you want to play the game, it's going to cost you $15, because the average Ouya game doesn't tell you the price until you try to buy it. And Dub Wars says, right, we want, exactly, it's stupid, but Dub Wars says we want $15, we want $15. Would you like to continue with your purchase? If you say no, they say, whoa, hang on, but we'd like you to be in the beta anyway. We'd rather have you here than not. So, how's about we give it to you for $10? This is a one-time offer. If you say yes, you get it for $10. If you say no, you've just lost your chance. Or have you? No, because it's an Android console. So if you go into your system configuration, your system menu on the Ouya, that will take you to the Android kind of back end where you go into your settings page. Go to your app section, go to Dub Wars, and then clear the cache. Go back into the game. Say that you want to buy the game again. Say no, and you'll get your discount offer back. Just
That's the hot tip of the month.
Just randomly throwing that out there. I think it's a pretty damn fun game, and coming from someone that doesn't like dubstep, if you want to burn a few minutes, or even I think I spent nearly 20-30 minutes playing through the same level, just trying to up my score and stuff. If you're kind of score crazy, this is a good game for you, and if you like dubstep, play it.
Yeah.
Oh
Excellent.
my god. I recommended a Ouya game.
I know. Do you feel so dirty now?
Yes, I think I need to go and kind of burn everything that I own.
Right, so I think before we move on, I'll have some other game news. I picked a couple of things out. My first one is, did you play the original Did you play XCOM that came out last year? Not the original, but the one that they released.
I have XCOM, but it's part of my shrink wrap pile. I have it twice, actually. I have it on console and on PC.
Oh, okay.
I do that a lot.
XCOM is a turn-based strategy game with also so you've got it's like two modes. You've got a turn-based mode of the game, actual sort of fighting part, and then you've got a sort of back-end sort of strategy. You have like a base which you can research on. It's basically about an alien invasion and you fighting off. So you have to capture the aliens, interrogate them. You need to develop weapons. You still have to get their stuff, and eventually you go all the way to take out UFO, and it's a really good little game. Great things about it is that you can customize all your soldiers, so you can change their names. So all my soldiers were named after members of my friends and family, and it's very gut wrenching when one gets killed. And it's
I was going to say, that must be a horrible thing to do. Name them after a member of your family.
My
and then
best mate shot me. I was playing the game and I was obviously squad leader, and my best mate panicked. He saw a little alien sectoid thing, like the weakest alien in the whole game, and he panicked and he shot me.
Now, can we just say that he's not talking about his actual friend, but the
No.
character named
Yes.
after his friend?
Yes. I was
Just in
most
case
annoyed.
anyone
Yeah,
panics.
Yeah, it wasn't actually a little alien in the real world.
It could have been.
Yeah, his name was Paul.
And he shot you.
Yeah. And
What was
my
the
friend-
alien name, Paul?
The alien name was Paul. Yeah. So yeah, it's great. They've now announced, from what I read of it, it's like a really big expansion, and it's called XCOM Enemy Within. The old one's Enemy Unknown. This one's Enemy Within, and it's about sort of finding the demons in your own. Well, in your own. It's only a teaser been released at the moment, but it looks very much a case of finding enemies within your organisation. So I reckon you're going to have one of your soldiers betray you at some point in the game, because it does that. There's so many random things involved. Some new things that are getting added to it. You're going to be able to have genetic modification to your soldiers to make them better. You can now have a mech suit, which
is
you
always
can build.
hardcore.
It is always fun, which you can customize. It looks really good. The trailer, it's not a lot been released at the moment. It's only just literally announced it, I think, in the last couple of days. I'm personally looking forward to it. If it maintains the spirit of the original XCOM, I'll definitely be purchasing that. And if you haven't got the original XCOM, get it. It is worth it. I'm not a big strategy fan, but I really enjoyed it.
So we're recommending games that
Well,
not normally
yeah,
play. So that's how good they must be then.
Yeah, I would never play a strategy game usually. The next one I was going to say about was sort of news-wise is it's been announced today that Elder Scrolls is going to have a subscription.
He's talking about Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Elder Scrolls Online is going to be subscription based, and my personal feeling is I think these days a subscription MMO is a mistake.
Right. So are you saying that there is no MMO? Are you saying it's not worth paying for an MMO, or are there?
I've got bias views to this because I work full time, and I have other things I do in the evening, so I don't get a lot of time to play games, and I object to paying money for a game which I don't get, in my opinion, value for money out of. If it was a system whereby it was either pay as you go, or you could pre-buy 100 hours, and then once you use those 100 hours, you have to buy, it automatically renewed you another 100 hours. I wouldn't have objection to that. I'd happily do that. If that's how World of Warcraft worked, I'd be happy, because then it doesn't matter if I pay 2 hours a week or 50 hours a week. It seems fair. I think the idea of doing a subscription now, with so many free ones as well. I mean, you've got Guild Wars.
Yeah, Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 1 is still running, by the way.
Yeah. There's so many free ones out there. Why would you pay a subscription?
The thing is, we have to quickly go into this as well, that we have just mentioned only 2. Have you got any other kind of free-to-play games that you could...
Well, I mean, World of Warcraft is free to level 20, which gives you a rough idea of the game works, which is good, because it might be gives you an idea of a taste of the game before you go on, which again, I don't really have much objection to, because if you get to level 20, you're probably getting enough time in it to make it worth paying
It's
money
a very
for.
limited 1 to 20.
It is. You've got... Is it RuneScape as well?
I wouldn't know if RuneScape's really considered a proper MMO.
Yeah.
It's just a Java.
Yeah.
game.
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not big into MMOs, so
Okay.
I don't play a lot. Knights of the Old Republic,
That's not exactly free to play. They do offer a subscription mod.
do they? I thought they got rid of that.
No, they've locked down a lot of the game, so it's kind of better value for money if you actually
Ah.
if you actually want to properly experience Star Wars.
So it's
film.
like there's like a free version and a paid for version.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
if you want to kind of play every now and then, sure, then the free to play model is fine for you. Subscribe, you get a lot more out of it. There is, oh Christ, what's it called? I play it quite a lot. I'm actually a lifetime subscriber to a free to play game, The Secret World. That one has I should say these are actually buy to play, not so much free to play. A lot of people shout at me when I say free to play, because a lot of them aren't actually download for free. You still have to purchase the actual disc.
Depending on your classification of MMO, PlanetSide 2.
PlanetSide 2.
It's a
I'd call it an
first-person
MMO
shooter.
Yeah, an MMO shooter.
I've actually played that, and I do play that very often. And the reason I play it, and I'm happy to have an account with it, is because it's free to play.
Yep.
You can pay. It's got microtransactions in it, so you can buy stuff in it.
Yeah. Same like
But-
Secret World.
Yep, but you can earn it all anyway yourself. And the main sort of things you buy with your you can buy your weapons and so forth, but you can buy experience boosters, which lasts for a certain amount of time, and you just
Same as in Guild Wars.
yeah, I have no objection to.
Okay.
I can just play at my spare time, and to be fair, if you play it sort of comparison, like you will earn a few things, not as quick as somebody else who's paying for it, but you know what? I was still killing people at level like 10. I was still killing people.
Yeah.
So
So the real question is then, you obviously don't consider the subscription-based model viable.
I'm not
these
anymore.
days.
We've since how many MMOs have we seen go from subscription only to free to play parts?
Or at least have a free-to-play mode.
Yeah.
Majority of them, I'm actually quite surprised that who is actually developing it? It's not Bethesda, is it?
Is it not?
Not that I'm aware. I could be completely wrong here, so watch as Elder Scrolls fans jump down my throat and I don't know, shout at me in the street and pie me or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll do. They'll walk up to you really close in your face, and you have to do like a little mini game to make it happy again.
Yeah, that will probably end up me saying, "Get out of my face," and go and play a real game.
Yeah.
I say that, but
I like Skyrim.
I didn't.
Did you not?
No, I didn't. That said, my main hatred of Skyrim comes from the fact that Oblivion sucked, and when Skyrim came out, it didn't support multi-GPU configurations on PC. Well, of course, there's nothing to do on console, because consoles can't! But, yeah, so my main hatred came from that, because the game ran better if I pulled one of my graphics cards. So in the end, I spent £500 to get a single graphics card that was powerful as both. That was a bit thick.
Yeah, it was a little bit.
As far as... So, I hate to say it, but I would have agreed with you up until last weekend with the whole subscription-based MMO, because I'm married, I've got 2 children, I'm self-employed, I don't have a lot of time to play games. Believe it or not, sitting at home whilst you work, I can sit here in my underwear and work if I want to. I don't necessarily have as much time as people would think to play video games, especially now seeing this my kid. It's actually kind of a surprise that we're even getting a chance to record this podcast without interruption. You might not realise we haven't had an interruption. I've not edited anything out yet.
Yet is the key word there.
Storms in. But so Elder Scrolls Online, subscription-based. World of Warcraft, subscription-based. If you want to get anything out of Star Wars The Old Republic, you're going to have to pay a subscription. Oh, Christ. What's that other one? Firefall?
Firefall, yeah.
Apparently that has a subscription as well, which surprised the living hell out of me, because I have no idea what that is. And what's the other one? Defiance? That was a console.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if that's really an MMO. I think that was
a
shooter.
It's really bad, though.
Is it?
It's apparently really awful.
So I also heard it was
It's time with a TV series, and apparently the acting is awful.
Okay.
And the mission structures are poorly designed, and it is meant to be really bad. I've not played it. Hands up, I don't sound like I'm just saying it's bad because everybody else has said it's bad. I'm just saying what I've heard. I do try and avoid saying, if I've not played a game, I do try and avoid saying I think it's rubbish. But if I'm just repeating what other people have said, and apparently it's not very good.
Sure, if it's your kind of thing, you might enjoy it. We just don't necessarily enjoy it right now. So don't, it's just our opinion. Yes. You might think
Please
something
don't
else.
Flame us.
Well, you can flame us. I kind of enjoy it, to be honest. It gives me something to do other than look after my children and work.
Yeah.
I get to shout at people online.
Stick children on them.
No one would want that. They are like the ultimate trolls. But some people I know have played Defiance and they quite like it. But there is one gripe I have with Defiance. It is on consoles, much like my MMO of choice that I'm going to be talking about again in a minute, Final Fantasy XIV. But I think it's on the Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. They're all on their own servers.
What?
Yeah, so the PlayStation 3 version can't play with the Xbox players, and they can't play with the PC players. It's stupid. It's done badly. I honestly think in this day and age, servers should be open worldwide. We shouldn't have region-locked servers because, let's be fair, people have reasonable internet connections now for the most part.
Yeah.
So you should be able to connect to whatever server you want at any time.
It should be like EVE Online, where there's one server for everybody.
Yep, one big old...
Example of a subscription-based MMO.
EVE Online.
EVE Online.
Which has a PlayStation 3 counterpart called... Oh God, what's it called?
Dust.
That one, 3 something.
914 something.
That one, Bacon Sandwich.
Yeah, Dust Bacon Sandwich. That famous add-on pack. Not as good as Dust Sausage.
Which is that's a first-person shooter, right?
It is. What you can do, what they apparently you can do in EVE though, is you can hire. Basically, you attack a planet. You can hire people, and you give them money, and those people on the consoles get the money to spend on doing stuff.
I do remember a lot of talk of EVE players going absolutely mental, though. That console players actually have some influence on their amazing PC game.
Yes. The EVE community, I think we have to admit, is one of those. Is a bit like a big sleeping giant wolf.
Should I get my shield just in case?
No, this is very nice. They're a lovely community, but you don't anger them. It's the same with a big wolf is lovely. You might want to stroke it. It's lovely, but you don't prod it.
Yeah, don't punch it in the nuts.
So we're not going to prod the EVE community because they are bigger than us.
A lot bigger than us.
They are bigger, and they have more money than us.
Crazy people.
Yes, so
because they're paying for a spaceship subscription.
Yes. Yeah, we're not gonna prod the EVE community. I'm really pleased you've got a game that you love. Ain't for me.
Nope.
But I'm really pleased for you. Please don't kill us. Please don't kill us.
If someone would like to explain the draw to the game, go for it. I don't personally understand it. I know some people do admit,
I have read sort of articles online, stories that have happened in EVE. They seem amazing. But the trouble is, with a lot of these stories you see and hear from games, actually at the time when you're doing it, it's not that spectacular. It's only when someone puts into a context and editorises it that sounds more spectacular than it is.
Yeah, they've kind of overhyped it.
Yeah, I think it's just it's like when you watch like a historical, when they like do these like World War II based on true stories books.
Creative license.
Yes, there's a creative license to make it more interesting, which is fine because that's what you have to engage the audience. And some of the stories I have heard are amazing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's not something I'm going to partake in.
Yeah, it's not for me either, if I have to be honest. So, that's a game we wouldn't pay a subscription for. I wouldn't pay a subscription for Star Wars. Thankfully, Guild Wars 2 doesn't have one, and I wouldn't if it did. Sorry, Guild Wars 2 fanbase. I spent a long time slamming Guild Wars 2.
We're basically getting the whole internet turned against us, you realise what we're doing.
I'm completely cool with that, because then we go, oh, you suck because you play Final Fantasy XIV. Now, going back to the actual question, because we've gone off the rails so many times on just this one question. As I said, I would have agreed with you up until very recently about not paying a subscription for MMOs. In fact, a lot of people have asked me to come back to World of Warcraft, and I said no based purely on the fact that it has a subscription.
Yes.
I refuse to pay a subscription when there are so many other good games out there that I can play without one.
Yes.
Until Final Fantasy XIV's beta weekend. I got pulled out of that game rather harshly. As I mentioned earlier, the subscription time limit ran out. I'd already paid some money to get an extra character slot. I couldn't renew my subscription, even though I was a legacy player. The game has now come back out. I said I wouldn't play it. I got a taster of the beta. I'm stuck. I am stuck in there. I have already put down money to get early access, even though I already own the game. We bought the PlayStation 3 version, so we have a PlayStation 3 Collector's Edition coming through the post, which we don't really need because we already have the client installed. I am more than happy to pay a subscription for that game, even though I know I don't have much time to play it. My wife will play this thing to death. During the beta weekends, I lost my wife. She was only sat on the other side of the room, but I lost her. She would rather play Final Fantasy XI than probably eat, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'd say that one is kind of...
It's probably because I've never played an MMO that's grabbed me enough. I just find MMOs in general rather dull. Mm-hmm. I can't say any other way than that. I don't like grinding. I really can't stand it. I hate getting a mission saying, kill 100 of these. Go, and this is a very cliched thing to say. Kill 100 of these, go out, you kill them, bring them back. Oh, now I'm going to kill another 100. I don't like that. I can't, as a level I can't stand that, which is why I've never really engaged with an MMO. I just feel that I'm wasting my time on them. I feel that I could be doing more productive things. I could be, if it was now, I could be working with my C# in Unity or doing stuff. I feel that I'm wasting my time with an MMO. That's what, and I'm sure if one out there got me hooked, then probably would consider paying a subscription. But there'd be a limit to how much I'd be willing to pay. I probably want to pay more than £8 or £9 a month as a maximum.
A reasonable subscription price for you is £8 or £9.
If it was something really, really good. If it was something I was really hooked on.
So we've established I will pay a subscription if the game is good enough.
Yeah.
You would pay a subscription if on a very rare, like, planets align moment, a game grabbed you. What, then, would you want in an MMO? What is it you want? If you were given the option, and you've asked me this, what would you personally have that would make you pay that subscription without question?
No grinding.
Okay.
No grinding, full stop. Story-based quests is actually an investment. This lack of other players would be a good thing.
An MMO with no other players. Rock on.
Yeah. Well, you see, this is the thing, is that other players ruin the immersion. I like to get immersed, a bit like we're talking about Corvo and Dowd, I like to get immersed into the character of the game, of who I'm meant to be. And as soon as you get somebody walking up to me saying, we'll sell gold for, come in this trade channel and buy gold for $8, then that's just ruined my immersion, that's ruined my fun.
Would you say then, right, so just kind of going off the tracks again, would it matter if it was a group of people that you knew? So let's say these were people that you knew IRL in real life, and you all got in game together. Is that a complete? That's a different experience.
That'd be a different experience. They'd have to have a similar play style to me.
Okay.
I mean, I've got friends who I know when I've played with online in the past. If I played for a long period of time, he would drive me mad.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. We were playing Ghost Recon. Do you? I mean, that good old game, Ghost Recon.
Yes, I remember Ghost Recon. Shame.
The original Ghost Recon. When we were all a lot younger.
Island Thunder and Desert Siege.
And we were playing online, there's 3 of us, and me and one of my friends, we were being proper how you meant to be, sort of covering and stealthing and sort of taking the enemy out. My other friend decided, I'm going to play like Rambo, and he ran in, and just sort of, big machine, he had a heavy machine gun, Rambo, bullets everywhere, he kept dying last. We kept getting killed, he kept dying. If we tried to go Rambo, boom, dead instantly.
So he was playing the arena shooter and getting
away. He was playing COD in Ghost Recon and winning. I mean, that's just frustrating.
There? You just compared an arena shooter to Call of Duty. I feel greatly offended.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right there. We're talking Quake, Unreal Tournament. Right. We are not talking Call of Goddamn Duty right now.
I retract my previous comment.
Good lad. I'll let that slide.
He's just he's the sort of one who you'd be playing like another Tom Clancy game, the proper Rainbow Six, before they went arcadey.
Before they went console.
Raven Shield or before. On PC, because the consoles often weren't proper Rainbow Six games either.
No, they were very, very arcadey. I can remember Rainbow Six 3, which was Raven Shield, right?
That was a lot closer, yeah. If you got Rainbow Six, the original Rainbow Six on the console to the PC, they were completely different games. The only similarity was the image on the front of the box. That was the only similarity. They were completely different.
What an amazing game!
They were nothing to do with each other, and they were completely. All the levels were completely different. They had the same missions. They cut about 3 of them out, but the levels were completely different. But he's the sort of person who, on Rainbow Six, who decides for fun to drop a frag grenade at our feet.
Well, that's nice, isn't it?
He's that sort of player. That's the sort of player if I wouldn't want to have on an MMO with me.
Right.
If I was with a group of friends who are very like-minded individuals, we played very similarly, I'd probably have a great time. But it just takes that one person who I get on with very well, he's a very good friend of mine, but would drive me doolally, and I'd want to shoot him.
You'd need the right group and, say, an arranged time. Kind of like, I know this sounds really like geeky, but like a Saturday night D&D game or whatever.
Yes. But basically, we're adding a lot of requirements for my MMO. It hasn't had grinding. I must be with people who I know but play similar to me.
So basically, no one is allowed to buy your MMO.
No.
Just your friends that you know.
That I approve of.
Like you've got to get on a waiting list.
It'll be the only MMO with only 3 people playing it.
Yep. There is an interview. There will be an interview once this game is in development. And if you don't pass, I'm sorry, you don't get the job to play.
With me. That's your ultimate prize. You get to play with one of the worst MMO players in the world.
Like uber casual.
Yeah.
Beyond casual.
Yeah.
So what other requirements do we have?
So
no grinding.
No grinding. No people. This is where right. And we're going to go back slightly. We've already discussed this. Item leveling with level requirements. We have already gone this. I'm not going to go over it all in detail again.
Okay.
That just annoys me. Why can't I put this piece of armor on?
Okay. The whole idea that once you expect to have gear, even if you're not really experienced enough
Yep.
to use it.
Yes.
So,
Fifth thing. Okay. I want to be interacting with it. I don't want to be hitting a button and then waiting for my character to do something 3 seconds later.
Okay.
I want to be responsive. This is probably why I quite like PlanetSide, because you hit the button, you actually shoot. And it's unlike the original PlanetSide, it is a proper you hit them, you kill them type setup. That's what I want. I've always felt when I was playing WoW, fairly disconnected from the game. Because I used to go up to an enemy and I just had to hit, I need to hit 5, 6, and 3 and I'll kill them.
yeah.
And what was the fun hitting saying 5, 6, and 3?
So you didn't like having rotations in MMOs. Have you
No.
actually played any of the action-based MMOs, Guild Wars 2
I've been intrigued by Guild Wars 2. I've been tempted to give that a go.
and Raiders? Even Secret World is
Yeah.
kind of an action-based MMO.
I've been tempted. The other problem I have with MMOs, this is option number 6,
Wow.
is this is getting quite in depth now, is I feel as a casual gamer for MMOs, because I don't get a lot of time to play games, I mainly get 4 or 5 hours a week, if that, on a good week. As a casual gamer, I feel that I'm being punished for being a casual gamer on an MMO. Because if you go on with a group of friends, they might get more time in it, you go away and they're all
I have to admit, I know exactly how that feels. You do get punished in an MMO because you can't expect your friends to wait. My wife and I have had that issue where we've all started together, and then 20 minutes, you'll go offline for a night, and then by morning they'll be like 10 levels or 20 levels ahead of you.
And
there's
then
no
you
point in
feel
playing.
bad making them wait for you to catch up.
Yeah. Which they never do.
Yeah.
They never do.
So really, you have to play all together at the same time. You have to agree to play at the same rate and hope you all level up at the same as well. We're getting quite. Basically, I think in general, I really don't like MMOs.
Yeah, I think that's what we've come to the conclusion.
So no people, no leveling, no grinding.
Actually, I can say 2 MMOs that currently kind of spring to mind, well, 3 actually that spring to mind off the top of my head. Right, where level requirement isn't an issue. Guild Wars 2 has a system that will bump your level down. So let's say, for example, I'm at level cap, you're in the noob zone, and
Yes.
I don't know, I want to come back and help you, but I don't want to steamroll
Yeah.
everything because that'll take away the enjoyment. Guild Wars 2 will bump your stats down and your level down to a requirement for that zone.
But would you not, as a player, as a player who has got to that level, find that unenjoyable because you've got access to all the stuff, but you can't use it?
You can still use all of your equipment, just your stats have been bumped down.
Oh, wow.
And you also still get rewards from the game for helping players in a lower area. You get rewards based on your actual level, not on the level of the zone that you're in.
Right.
So if it bumps you down, your rewards scale with you, or they
Yeah.
stay at where you were. So you're not going to start getting like, I don't know, a copper helmet if you're supposed to be wearing like dragon mail or something like that. Then you've got Secret World.
Yep.
Brilliant game in my opinion. Great story. It's a modern time MMO. So rather than, dragons and all that kind of stuff, myths and legends that you hear from ye olde day it's all real.
Yeah.
Just, vampires, werewolves, all that.
All myths are true.
All that
Right.
bollocks. It's all real. It's all modern day. You run around with a goddamn shotty, for Christ's sakes.
That sounds good to me.
It's
You're selling it to me.
it's a pretty fun game. Once you get to a certain level, you can hit level cap, but you never actually stop leveling. You will always keep getting stats, I guess, until you fill up the entire tree. There are so many different classes, so many different weapons and armor types. You can actually make your own build from all of the different skills that you buy as you play.
Yeah, that's something I would love to see in the game.
You complete quests, you get points. You kill things, you get points. There is no real level. And then, so let's say, for example, you then go into the noob zone, or you've just started, and I want to play the game with you, but not steamroll things again. I just change my armor set. You can actually redo every quest in the game with the exception of story quests. So you are back at the noob zone, I go back to the noob zone, I put on my noob gear, I get rewarded for doing those quests again as if I were a noob. I get the full experience. I get item rewards, I get, skill point rewards, because it's all based on gear. It's actually, if you've got high level gear and you go into a noob zone, you get suck-ass points. little to no reward. If you actually drop your gear, if you like put your gear away and you put on your low level gear, you get full rewards again, which is kind of handy for leveling, I guess, and you can help your friends. Kind of a fun game. You don't need a subscription for that one, but you will need to buy it. Guild Wars 2 again, no subscription. The next one, Final Fantasy XIV. This game...
I get the feeling you like this game, Luke. I don't know why. I just get a strange feeling you like it.
I like it a little bit, yes.
Yeah.
I do, just a little bit. If you
haven't
were to say
mentioned
that, if you were to say that to my wife, she would literally be clung to my PC right now as if it was, I don't know...
Going to one away.
Yeah, like seriously, I don't know. She's like insulin and a diabetic. Like the crazy relationship between insulin, sugar, and a diabetic.
Right.
It's that kind of thing. She needs that game. It will probably kill her though. Final Fantasy XIV allows you to. So let's say you're playing the game. I've already leveled up my main class. So let's say I'm a warrior. I'm max level. You start playing the game. You've got no one to play with. Two things can happen in the game. There are event quests which are scalable. The game will bump your level down, much like Guild Wars 2, to allow you to help people doing these quests. Or, as I mentioned earlier, Final Fantasy will allow you to swap job classes. So, you're level 1, I'm max level, crap. I can't really play the game with you because I will just steamroll everything. Not if I just change my weapon and my armor set. I'll still have access to my top level warrior if I need it, but I can be bumped down to play the game with you at a lower level and act as a support character if needed. So that's kind of another option. Also subscription based.
No trouble with that though is yes, you got other classes. You also want the possibility where you'll eventually level those classes up as well, and then you have the same problem as before, don't you?
But then again, you just drop down. There are so many classes in that game. I don't think that would ever be an issue. You probably have to level up. I can't even remember how many classes there are. I keep getting confused with 11, but 11 has something like 15 to 20 classes that you can level up. Final Fantasy XIV has a good few. You'd be stretched to really sit there and level up all of them. Plus, you can kind of combo classes together, and you still have the scaling down for certain quests. So,
okay,
pretty good.
Well, shall we move on to our last section? It's been a bit of a game-heavy section with a bit of hardware. So I thought for our last section we'll go something completely off-kilter. And basically what I've done is I've been trawling the various news sites and I've been looking at old news stories.
Interesting.
Luke doesn't read the news.
No.
So these are going to be completely surprising. I'm going to be very interested to see his reaction to them because I tried to find the weirdest ones I could.
Okay.
Okay. I picked 4 stories I think are the weirdest stories.
Okay.
Okay. Area 51 has now been acknowledged by the US government as existing.
Area 50... No.
Oh, yes.
Area 51B, maybe, but I don't believe they've actually
Area
admitted
51
to...
has been acknowledged. It was found in a U-2 spy plane documentation.
Interesting. Okay, well, so... How far have they...
They admit it exists.
All of the... So it just exists. They've
admit
not admitted
those
to
exist.
anything that everyone...
They have not said about any little green men going there, or little grey men. They've not admitted anything else. They've just admitted that it exists. So, but it's obviously officially, the long-term thing is... It's always been there, but officially it's never existed. I mean, until a few years ago, you go on Google Maps and you can look at the sky view of it and see it. They eventually cut that all out. But they now admit that Area 51 does exist.
They better get on the call. They better get on the phone to Google and censor that map again.
Yeah, but Area 51 does exist. Has that blown your mind at all?
I have to admit, for the US government to admit anything these days? Oh my god.
Right.
What's going on?
Alright.
I'm going there now.
Okay, no worries. Luke, when you go to the public urinal, how good is your aim?
Pretty damn good, I'd hope.
Good. 'Cause
I've had many years of practice.
Okay, you'll be okay in China then. In certain parts of China, they now charge you £10 fine if you miss.
Wow. Okay, who reported this? Are you serious?
This is BBC News.
That's not real. That's come off
It's-
the BBC. That's not a credible news source.
It is true. It's on BBC News. If you miss the toilet urinal, you get a £10 fine.
How are they monitoring this? Was that even
I
covered?
don't-
I'm curious.
I don't know. I presume they've got someone standing there.
I don't think I could pee. I'm sorry. I don't think. There's
could.
someone standing there staring, looking at my non-existent
I'd tell you
wang.
what. This is how lovely Norwich is. I went to we were going to college, university one day, and I was at Norwich train station.
As you do.
And if you've ever been to Norwich train station, for some reason all the lights in the loos are blue.
There is a very kind of clear reason for that. It's to stop it from stabbing yourself in the arm and shooting up. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's harder to see you.
I thought
Why do I know
that's
that?
me. It's some sort of funky new lighting system.
how-
Tries to stop druggies. Right, okay. So
I'm not a druggie, by the way.
no, he's not. He's too thin.
Yeah, the needle just goes straight through my arm.
I remember being in the Norwich Loos, and I remember some tall guy came, and he just kept staring.
Came
down
in
at
the
me.
loo, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
He was staring down at me the whole time when I was trying to piss. And literally, I mean, staring down at him. So I had to leave. That was just weird.
And now you're going to have to deal with that when you go abroad. Or
Yes,
face a
I
fine.
know. Yeah, exactly. He was a trial. Pass us a trial for it.
That's quite scary if it was being trialled in Norwich,
Yeah.
Norwich train station.
Yeah.
So what happens if you're being stared at, assuming that you're being stared at, and you wet yourself?
Oh, it's okay. You didn't miss.
What if you're gonna leak over the floor, dude? I mean, what do women
You
do?
get £10 fine.
I know that women aren't gonna, they're not gonna have to aim much, but what happens if they, I don't know, randomly decide to stand up and piss all over the floor?
£10 fine.
Smear turn over the wall?
£10 fine.
God damn.
I think it's £10 fine or nothing.
So if I decide to go on a mass rampage,
£10 fine.
smear turd everywhere, pee everywhere, and then destroy the place?
Perhaps it's done by turd.
Wow, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
£10 a turd.
It's part work.
If in fairness, if I could take more than one dump at the same time, they can charge me more. Than
I
£10.
think you've been playing Duke Nukem Forever too much.
Just a little bit. That was actually a surprisingly good game. No one else liked it.
Really?
I did.
Oh, right.
Random fact of the day.
Okay. That's that. On that more disturbing note, we've been talking about weeing and pooing on walls, but Luke liking Duke Nukem is more disturbing than that. So we're going to move on. Back to good old US of A. A judge has insisted a mother change her 8-month boy's name from Messiah to Martin, because by her definition, only Messiah is a title that can only apply to one person, which is Jesus Christ. So, do you think they should have the ability to change people's names like that? The ironic thing is, they were going to court over the child's surname. The first name wasn't a way back. The judge looked at the surname, then looked at the first name, made him change that as well.
Wait, you can have someone change their surname?
Surely
they couldn't tell someone to change their family name.
And they went to court because there was an argument going on over the surname of the child.
Okay.
For what I've read into it, I believe it's between the mother and the father.
So this is a marriage dispute. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes more sense.
father.
I was going to say they're going to say that you're not allowed to have the name.
Yeah, I think one would have it named after them, the other one not named after them. So they had to go to court over it.
Excuse my language, so it's not like this child was named, Messiah Cunt.
No.
Or something like that.
No. I mean, it'd be like having a child, say me and you had a love child together, and calling it...
well, that'd be kind of scary.
Calling it and I want to call it Jackson, you want to call it Roberts.
Okay.
And the judge did quite sensibly said, okay, we'll call it Jackson Roberts.
Okay, makes sense.
But the judge thought, hang on, he's called Messiah as well, we're going to change it to Martin.
I think that's a little heavy-handed. I don't think.
But I do agree with the judge. One judge did say is that I think they're thinking of is when that child grows up. Imagine going through school if you're called Messiah.
That's fair, but then what about all these people called Muhammad? I mean,
Right.
a lot of people get kind of sketchy on Muhammad.
True, I
and
see
all
what
that
you
kind of
mean.
stuff. So, I mean, really?
I see what you mean. But often, I think I'm not showing my ignorance here. I think although they have Muhammad in the name, they have another name as well, do they not? I'm really sure. I'm sorry. Apologies to anyone of his own faith or Muslim. I don't know. I always assumed that they were something Muhammad.
Yeah, but still, they do get kind of narky. No offense again to just the name Muhammad. It's like a lot of
You're not allowed
people...
to take it in like you're not allowed to do depictions of Muhammad, are you? Mm-hmm. In vain. So again, this is just debate.
We're just throwing that
out there. Okay.
But it also goes the same as, what if I decided to call my child Jesus, or if I want to call my child King.
Or Buddha.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so many children out there with stupid names. Like, the parents clearly didn't really think, we're going to quickly just flip back to gaming. A name I think they really should force the parents to change was that a couple called their firstborn son Dovahkiin.
Oh yes, Bethesda did that as a competition, didn't they?
Yes, and someone
That
actually did it.
That should be stopped. Yeah.
I put that on the same level. To be fair, it's just stupid. If they
Yeah.
want to do it, who am I to say?
I think in Switzerland they actually have a set of approved names for boys and girls. I apologize if I've got that country wrong, but it's one of the countries, and you can only name them off this approved list. It's like a couple hundred names for boys and girls, and you can only name off the approved list.
So American hippies, you're screwed. You can't call your child Rainbow
Faith.
or
Apple.
Bacon. That's not very
Are you a
good.
bit hungry at the moment?
I am, if I had to be honest.
Okay, that explains that. Okay.
Bacon's good for everything, right?
Okay. On to our final odd story. And this one I think will blow your mind completely.
More than Area 51 being fined to pee outside of it.
Yes. Which was more shocking, the fine to pee or Area 51?
I don't know. They're both pretty crazy. To be fair, if I got fined to pee on Area 51, which I probably would now that I think about
That'd
it.
be £10 then, please.
Yeah, £10 to pee on a government building. I'm cool with that.
Okay. A cat DNA has led to someone being convicted of murder. A cat DNA database. They found this guy being killed. They found cat hairs on him. They compared it to the murderer's cat, and they found a match and determined he was the murderer.
A cat DNA
database is now been set up.
Oh my god.
I'm looking forward to the first episode of CSI, which has that in it.
I'm comparing that to Area 51 right there. I don't know which is crazier. All of these stories are...
I tried to find the older stuff.
Seriously. And who reported that?
That was on BBC News.
BBC, I don't believe that again. Anything on BBC or if it came out of the back of the Sun or Daily Sport, I'd believe it.
What? Oh, rubbish. They make it all up as they go along.
So do the BBC, apparently.
Yeah.
Now I'm actually going to find that that's completely true. Are you the guy that got convicted because you had a cat?
Yes.
Why would they do that? Why would... Oh my god. Look, have you got a cat? No. Cat goes out window.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so random. A cat DNA database. I'm going to be scared to go outside soon. I'm going to disconnect from the internet completely. You're going to have to do the podcast. You edit it, you upload it. I'm having enough. I'll just sit here whilst the podcast goes on, and I'll nod and smile, and then you'll have to continue the conversation from there, because this is getting crazy. Okay? I'm going to be convicted of murder if I have a cat. I'm going to be fined if I piss over Area 51.
Yeah.
And I'm not allowed to name my kid something stupid.
Of course, if you did press over Area 51, and you weren't there and they found the piss, they just find you for the cat hairs.
Yeah, they would find me through the random cat hairs.
Yeah.
Or there's a...
What's your name? Messiah.
That would be bad. Messiah has just been convicted or fined for pissing over Area 51, and they found him because of his cat.
Yeah. I think that's quite nice. You combine all those stories together.
That was brilliant. There you go. Well, there will be a book published next year.
Yes.
Oh, Christ.
Well, Luke's mind's been sufficiently blown. My voice is disappearing.
That was brilliant.
I think we've got nothing. Have you anything else you'd like to bring up or add?
I probably did, but I probably don't.
Forgot. Okay. I think then perhaps we should call it end of our first podcast.
Brilliant.
Way.
Congratulations if you survived this long. I
If
might
you
have managed to
have.
whittle it down to about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't be too harsh.
No. They'll listen to the whole thing.
Yes.
Unedited.
Including the bits where we just ramble on while we're trying to use a computer.
And clap. How do you turn this on? What's a microphone?
Yeah.
What's a podcast?
Why are we doing this again?
Crazy hipsters.
So, thank you very much for listening.
If you did.
If you did.
If you did, think of something they can say or email in. Do we have an email yet?
Oh, we can set one up. We'll set one up with the podcast, shall we?
Yes, we will put a link in the description of the podcast where you can leave
Email
a comment
us.
or email.
Yep. Please don't flame us.
Too much.
No. I mean, I personally have got more things to do than structural for the emails. If you want to send us weird stories, yeah, that'd be good. I like to keep blowing Luke's mind. So by all means, send us as many weird stories as you can find.
Even though I think we've really topped it.
We have, yeah. I mean, my only request is that they're not from the Onion. That's my only request, and I will, I will check. I'm not like these Chinese newspapers that keep getting caught out by seeing copyright stuff in the Onion. Or as Oh, late note. Ricky Gervais once got caught out by a story from Hitman. If you ever play Hitman Blood Money, there's these. When in between each mission, you get like a little newspaper of your of what you've just done.
Okay.
And there's like little snippets on the side, and it's a fake one. And somebody sent that in to Ricky Gervais' podcast, and he actually broadcast it as a real story.
Oh, Ricky Gervais.
Yeah. So I will be checking. So don't just send me around. So ideally, send me the link to the actual place where it came from.
Yes.
If there's anything nice to bring up or discuss, by all means, send it in as well, and we'll choose to ignore.
We'll eventually probably also have a like a phone number that people can call in, leave a message and stuff.
Yeah.
So then
Long-term plan.
We can then discuss.
I'll give you Luke's mobile.
Don't you dare! It's bad enough having to deal with all these cold callers, insurance companies, and all that crap. Let alone a podcast. Hey, can I be on your podcast? No. You can if you call the proper number. Nick's number.
Oh, don't. Oh, don't.
And the funny thing is, they probably would.
Probably would, yeah.
Because you're nicer to them than I am.
Yeah. Oh, you don't have me with these calling centres. I'm terrible with them.
What do you do? You tell me your name's Messiah?
Yeah. I charge £10 fine for calling me. Right. I think
That's brilliant.
we've tried this a few times to end now, so let's call it an end now.
Cool.
Thank you very much for listening. See you next time.
Yeah.